What's up, everyone? Welcome to Loghouse Strong. I'm Alex Lawrence, and today we're going to go over Twin Rivers Strength Fest again. However, this time we're going to take a look at the Pro-Am, the U90 Pro-Am that's going to be happening at this contest. In this lineup, we've got Gaetan Plante, Kyle Evanoff, Carlos Monsalve, William Murray, Tyson Delay, Jeremy Hatfield, and Robin Killoran. Now, I mentioned in my earlier video when I was explaining what Loghouse Strong is that I'd mainly be covering just the open men for now, but I figured I would give this one a little bit more attention because it is a Pro-Am, and that's kind of a big deal. So with other previews and recaps, I like to go along the list of athletes as they appear on said list. Like for a preview, whatever order they're announced on the athlete list, I will go name by name that way, and in recaps I'll go by placings. However, since this is a Pro-Am, I want to cover the amateurs first, and then I'll cover the pros on this list afterwards. So to start us off, we have Gaetan Plante. He's a pretty solid U90. I've never met him before, but he did compete not too long ago in Victoria. His log, his clean is very, very efficient. It's very good. He doesn't seem like he'll lose any energy on his log, so that's good news. His pressing strength, the log seems a little bit tricky with the pressing. We'll see another rep here. He kind of has that push jerk technique, which if your balance isn't quite right and you don't quite have the right pop, it could bite him in the ass. So we'll see how he does with the opening log weight of 255. Gaetan doesn't post a whole lot about his deadlift training, but in this video that I found from fairly recently, 6 months ago, he does 8 sets of 1.5 axle reps with 425, and they look very, very easy. So that's a lot of volume to be covering. So I believe he shouldn't really have any trouble with the 525 opening deadlift weight in the ladder. We'll see about that second deadlift. Next, we got Carlos Monsalve. He isn't really in the habit of posting his training weights in his training videos, but in this video, I'm assuming this is his training for sandbag steeplechase, and I see that he's shouldering one of the bags, and I understand why he's doing it, because front carries take a lot of energy out of you, but he doesn't really move that fast with it anyways. So if it were me, I would say be better off with just doing a front carry the whole time anyway. But if that's the way he's been training, then just keep doing that. Just don't change anything last minute. In this deadlift video, his max weight here is approximately just north of 500 pounds, is what I gathered based off of the plates that I saw, which should be good enough to get him through that first deadlift for sure. And then he should be able to get through the second one, and we'll see about the third. Next up, we got Jeremy Hatfield. Jeremy is a really solid U90, and he actually just finished first at Alberta Provincials this 3 or 4 weeks ago. Just narrowly. It was a really big fight between him and Sergey, and it all came down to front hold. Jeremy's overhead is pretty decent. He doesn't really post a whole lot of it here, but in Alberta Provincials, I think in their overhead medley, the log weight was 225, and I don't know if he started with it or if he started with the dumbbell, but he at least got 2 or 3 reps, and I'd imagine that they were super, super easy. So I'm pretty confident that Jeremy's going to be able to get at least that first rep on the log. Jeremy's a pretty solid deadlifter for a U90. In this video, we've got a 625 elevated deadlift for a pretty easy single, as we'll see. And even 6 months ago, he posted a video from his off-season training where he pulled 600 pounds off of the floor, or 9 inches. Sorry. That other video was a bit of a fight. We'll watch that here, but I'm pretty confident he'll be able to get the first 2 deadlifts, and if he's having a really good day, he'll get that third one. I also want to point out that Jeremy's really, really fit. Like his cardio is fantastic. He actually had one of the craziest performances I've ever seen at my second contest that I ever went to 2 years ago in Grand Prairie, where he had a we were doing sandbag over bar, and him and another guy, they ended up going back and forth, I think for like 50 reps or something like that. Something insane. I couldn't believe it. Nobody could believe it. We're all kind of scratching our heads wondering how somebody could go for so long. But I believe I'm pretty confident he's going to smoke that sandbag steeplechase. Next, we have Robin Killoran. Now, Robin's a barber and a strongman, but his IG is mostly barber stuff. Whatever. That's his passion. That's his job. That makes sense. He does post a little bit, not much, about his strongman. Very little about his training, but he does have a full recap post from Kelowna Strongest this past year, where he got 4th overall, it says here. Now, the overhead event at Kelowna's was Trump Circus Dumbbell, where I'm not sure if the 125 was the Trump weight or not, but he won this event with 10 reps. Now, he is using, obviously, push press, but he also has a lot of actual pressing involvement in there as well. So I'm hoping that he can manage at least the first log, maybe the next. He's pretty quick on this yoke, this 500-pound yoke. Now, they will be doing a heavier yoke, a 650, but this is super, super fast. So as long as he's been training it and his balance has gotten better, then he should be all right with the yoke. In this video, he's pretty damn fast with a 250-pound sandbag, but we'll see how good his cardio is with the steeplechase. Now we have the first of our pros on the list. This first guy is actually a U80 pro, William Murray. He's pretty quick. In this video here at Kelowna Strongest, where he competed against Robin here, he apparently had the fastest time of all the men on the yoke run with his 500-pound yoke. He doesn't really post a whole lot of videos with weights, and the videos that he does post are kind of like montages, little clips, little snippets of different things. And frankly, I just don't really have the patience to go through those. But in this video here, this is a PR for him, 615 pounds. Now that's a grinder. That's a pretty tough rep. So although the last weight in the deadlift ladder is 595, we'll see if he has enough gas after the first 2 deadlifts to make it to that third one and complete it. Will doesn't really post a whole lot about his overhead, like actual pressing, like with a log or an axle or even a barbell, but he does like to post a lot about his dumbbell, which with the technique that he has, it's really hard to tell what his pressing strength actually is, because he uses that vertical position and just leg drive just enough to get it so that he can kind of straighten out his arm. I understand you still have to be strong as hell to be able to hold 200 plus pounds over your head, but in terms of actual pressing strength, it doesn't really tell me much. The next of our pros is Kyle Evanoff, the mastermind behind Ronin Fitness Coaching. Ronin Kyle, I should say, has a very good track record of coaching athletes and getting a lot of athletes to podium, both at BC Provincials and at Alberta Provincials and all the other contests that come before that. So obviously his programming works very well, and the guy knows what he's doing. As for training videos, I don't really see a whole lot. He primarily posts deadlifts. He really likes to deadlift. In this video here, we have gym footage of a 675-pound pull, and it appears to be just a regular 9-inch pull. It's a grinder, but damn, he got it. That's a really good pull. So I foresee him completing that ladder with ease. As for his overhead, not really a whole lot of coverage here. Like I said, he mostly posts about his deadlift, but if I remember correctly, this log weighs approximately 150 pounds empty, and he's got 100 pounds added to it. So about 250 pounds here. I could be mistaken by about 10 pounds or so. And recently, over the past year, year and a half, he's been way more interested in arm wrestling. So obviously his strongman training took a backseat up until this upcoming contest here. So I'm curious to see how his overhead has come along. I'll also point out that Kyle has crazy grip. 400 pounds a hand for, I don't know, what is that? Just under 10 seconds or so? Maybe a little bit less? Crazy. Absolutely insane. I still have yet to do that. The last of our pros, we have Mr. Tyson Delay. He's actually the only U90 pro on this list, the other two guys being U80 pros. And Tyson's actually been competing as a U105 this past season. So I'm assuming, well, he would have to do a weight cut for this contest. Now, Tyson, I recognize Tyson for his log pressing and his deadlifting. And his sandbag stuff. He's crazy at sandbag. I'm pretty confident he's going to win that sandbag steeplechase. Like, he's probably going to have the fastest time of any weight class. I have no doubt about that. And in this video here, we've got a 290-pound log for a double. So I'm pretty sure he's got 300 pounds for a max, for sure. We'll see if he can go higher. Just to show you an example of how quick Tyson is, this is him in the farther lane here, where he won this loading race handily. He's super fast with implements, and his transitions back to other implements is insanely fast. Like, so fast that the camera person doesn't even bother to pan back to him because they just can't keep up. And as I mentioned before, Tyson's a pretty solid deadlifter. This video, he goes all the way up to 575. I'm not sure if this is a kind of set where he puts the weight down, immediately puts weight on, and then goes for another rep, or if it's just 4 different sets. But I'm pretty sure that Tyson's going to be able to finish this ladder. So that wraps up my preview for the U90 Pro-Am. Of the amateurs, I honestly think that Jeremy has the best chance of coming out on top. He's just incredibly fit, he's pretty decently strong, and yeah, I think he's going to do some damage amongst the amateurs. As for the pros, man, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Kyle can do, being, like I said, the mastermind of Ronin and all. So now we get to see what he can really do, especially with all this time off that he's taken since he's kind of switched his passions to arm wrestling lately. But I honestly think that Tyson will come out on top. Just because Tyson has more time under the bar, he's been doing way more competitions than Kyle, obviously. He's just been competing lots, and he's been training hard. So, yeah, it's going to be a really good fight. Look out for the live stream that Twin Rivers is going to be posting on their YouTube. I'll share a link in my story, and I probably won't be watching along, but I'll absolutely do a recap of it as soon as I can once the contest's done and I have a score sheet and all of that. And when people upload some videos onto their grams, that will help a lot. It's just it's good to use the live stream footage and the gram footage, because the gram footage is just a little bit closer to the athletes. So, yeah, thanks for watching another preview. This is Loghouse Strong.